Okay, so there's a little unsettlingness to this T-square. Okay. We're talking about it. We may not have it. For him, that's normal. He's surprised that other people don't have that. He would be surprised that other people didn't have that. Okay, so it's sometimes when you have really stressful things around home, family, or in your personal life, it often forces it, like a difficult worldly chart can often be a really advanced spiritual chart. But you can't assume that, you have to perceive that. Okay, so we saw that we did the moon, we sort of indirectly jumped to Mercury. We did take a look at Venus. So Venus is in Taurus, it's in the sign it rules. Mercury is in the sign it rules, Gemini. Powerful thinking. Need to express oneself, to have the authority with that 10th house Mercury. Don't challenge what he's doing or tell him what to do. You know, like that. So, but his Venus is in Taurus in the 9th house. He knows what he likes. He has expensive tastes. He likes nice things. He likes his comfort. He wants to be appreciated. Up in the 10th house, it's daylight increasing, daily squaring. He needs to be getting what he wants for himself, whether it's the better TV set or the nicer car, or nicer. He's going to want things. He's going to have a philosophical, multicultural nature with the Venus in the 9th house. And at the same time, he's going to value certain philosophical or principled things. He's going to have very strong principles about what he values or what he likes, and what should or shouldn't be with that. So that's the 9th house. Sun in Taurus, Venus in Taurus in the 9th house. Strong sense of what I value and what I like and what I believe. And what I believe I have to do for money, or how much money I should have, or what I should do, all of these things, and feeling appreciated around it. So working at something he likes would be a big plus on this. Okay. Taking care of family, taking care of things, that's a more intense struggle. So we're starting to see some polarities coming up here. But the Venus is opposed by Mars and Neptune. So Mars opposed to Venus when he wants something. His Mars in Sag is going to tend to push for it. But the Mars is opposing the Venus, so it tends to push too fast. And by pushing too hard, it can often spoil the result. Or it can impulse spend or splurge, or there's an aggressive element. Like, yeah, it's just a little bit assertive, aggressive, impulsive. And he might be a little too impulsive, Mars, to become satisfied. He could be restless and impatient, and it can affect his satisfaction or his degree of contentment. So that's a bit of a stormy side, where there's Venus, Mars, there's often a discontent over petty things, over little things, and it's easy to say, damn this or screw that, or to use vulgar words to say it. I know him, I don't know him as using vulgar words, but for sure he's going to know the swear words and things, because he's going to run into discontent and then be impulsive. Oh, damn, oh, this. He has these two sides. But on top of this, Neptune is conjuncting his Mars and opposing his Venus. So Neptune and Mars are together. Neptune idealizes the Mars of everything he wants to do, but it also confuses it and makes it gullible. And that gullible aggression, or gullible, that overzealous, or either too aggressive or haunting, or Neptune tends to overinflate the Mars or deflate it to make it really weak. And I don't know what I'm doing, where I'm going. So it doesn't create for really strong ambition, but it tries to create a strong dedication in believing in what one's doing. A need to believe in what one's doing, the Neptune to Mars, but opposed to the Venus, and believing what he's doing and being able to pay for it are two different things. Finding work you like and believing in what you're doing, getting paid well for what you're doing, and believing in it sounds simple, but it's not always that simple. So there's some confusion, some dependency around emotions and actions around that creates an emotional codependencies, or complications, or trade-offs, or complications around his emotions. He'll attract these things that complicate him getting what he wants. He wants to take care of everything, but there's a cost, there's a weakness. Like this, with the Venus Neptune, it's like there's a hole in the bucket. He's trying to collect things, and it keeps changing and going, and maybe he keeps spending, or maybe it's just not, something's not as it seems here. There's some puzzle here. So I guess we started to get the sense of is attracting the domineering partner or domineering mom, and feeling he has to do things, he has to take care of these things now, and needs to do this, and he's got to take care of it with his daylight increasing. He's going to do it with the sun up in the 10th house in Cancer. But it says no matter how much he does, satisfaction is going to be evasive. As soon as he gets one thing done, there'll be something else that comes up. And the puzzle of what do I really want? Where do I really do? What am I going to do? Oh, he's got all the energy. I can go do this. I do this. I'll go on this impulse. But to do things and then feel satisfied, the results for the term, it's not so easy. And this Neptune, Mars opposes Venus. I'm kind of following. I'm trying to follow the inner planets and go around the sensitive planets, but they're jumping together. So I'm just talking around it. The Mars Neptune is in the 3rd house, whether confusion over brothers and sisters or relatives or family. This is in the early environment. You know, there's over dedications, there's confusions, guilts, expectations of what he can do. Well, what he can do, the expectations of what he's doing is very different than the 9th house principles of what's expected to him. Maybe his family is expecting, his mother was expecting him to be a doctor and make money and pull in money and take care of her. Well, you would shudder at that thought because see the moon Pluto, it's only so much you can do. But the Venus up in the 9th house, he believes he wants to take care of it. He wants to have these things, wants to take care of things. It's on the functional sharing side, he wants to share them. And he knows what's right or wrong, but living up to all the demands of the Venus is all the demands of a Venus that rules itself. That's a strong woman. That's with strong taste, but it's hard. The Mars is going to have trouble living up to it. There's going to be struggles with that. At the same time, the moon has the struggles too. So both his moon and his Venus are the 2 main afflicted points, and sometimes, and partly his Mercury. But this is from the aspects. You can't, it's the term is afflicted. It doesn't mean negative. Like if you're going to ignore anything in a chart when you're interpreting what's good for someone, you ignore the aspects. Even though he has these potentials, you're seeing the stress patterns, but that's not who he is. He's his moon in Aries and he needs to be active and courageous. He's his sun in Cancer, he needs to be secure and confident in his feelings. He's his Mercury in Gemini, he needs to have a curious mind that's looking at a lot of things. He's going to be interested in a lot of things. He's not going to want to be bored. As a Venus Taurus, he knows the things he likes. So you work on the planets and the signs and the houses as the healing energy. The aspects, you don't say this is defining you. You say, well, these are the things you tend to attract. This is the stuff you have to work through. This stuff you have to work beyond. But just because the stress is there doesn't mean the stress has to kill you or oppress you. It's just things. It's just the fertilizer you grow out of. So on a personal level, the Moon, Mercury, and Venus, there's all challenges. Nothing simple. In his chart, there's all challenges. When it comes to Mars putting out energy, there's big expectations with the Neptune, great dreams of doing things, how much to do, how much gets done. With the Aries, there's a tendency to start things well and not necessarily finish them that well, or start things and you're doing things and how much money is coming in, or it costs too much to get the things you want to do. That's there. His understanding is tied in between the Uranus and the Pluto. There's all these things that have to be done, but a lot of them could disturb the home or disturb the security, disturb what I need, or I have to take care of these things. So there's an instability and excitement, a severity when you're looking at family or worldly things. But if you're looking at Jupiter as the teacher of the understanding, he's going to identify to philosophy, to understanding. Okay, this is Venus in the 9th house. He wants those things, he's going to value those things. He identifies to teaching, to learning, to studying, to higher, to understanding, to organizations. But he's going to have his own unique take on it because Uranus is conjunct Jupiter. It's not going to fit into the norm. He's got to see it different. It's exciting. I'm trying to do it. I got to learn something different. There's something new to learn. It's there. So now that Uranus and Jupiter is there, and the Jupiter still is conjunct to Pluto. So there's a struggle between what's right and what's wrong. What's stable, what's not stable, what's right, what's wrong. And there'll be power struggles, or he'll believe in certain things and other people will fight him for it. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because often we learn more by our enemies than our friends, because they're fighting us, they're wrong, and I got to prove that I'm right. So this is his identity, is tied up to what's right, what am I doing, where am I going? It's harsh because Pluto's on the ascendant, but the Jupiter is looking for excitement and is going to be interested in alternative things, the Uranus and Jupiter on the ascendant, that's a strong identification to astrology, to learning, understanding things. And the Mercury rules up in the 10th house, but Jupiter's has the understanding. 9th house of Venus is tied into learning and understanding. So you can see there's a number of agendas. It's not we got a sense of this person, and he's going to seesaw between the outer world, the functional world, and the personal world, and between objective things above the horizon and below. So it's really a splay, but there's a double seesaw there. So that's how splays work. Where else are we here? Okay, so that's our run through these things. If we look at the Jupiter, it's in Virgo and the ascendant's in Virgo. Even his understanding is ruled by his Mercury in the 10th house around career status. What am I doing? What do I know? He's going to have his own phase. He's going to figure out what he's going to be thinking, what he's got to do, what he's going to do, what he needs to do, and how to do it. And then his understanding is going to be guided by that. There's a tendency here, Mercury is more prominent than the Jupiter. So even though his motivation, the IC, is motivated by Jupiter, by understanding, deeply motivated, Mercury is opposed, and that's up in the 10th house. And he has all the things he thinks about that he has to understand how to deal with what he thinks about. So there's a battle between his thinking and his strategies and what he should do, what he has to do, what he wants to do. There's a lot of choices that come up as to who I am and what I can do. His identity with ascendant conjunct Pluto, I can do anything. I'll have to do whatever I have to do. But there's that person looking for excitement and looking to expand. I want to get out of this. I want to see where something's different. I want to do something different. That's going to be in this chart too. So you have the sense of someone who needs to be related and is working and needs to have work in that. But the other half of his life is his own identity, his own knowledge, and his own travels and things he wants to do. It's very different than the things out in the world. And this is some of the paradoxes in his life. Okay, I'm going to come out of this level. There's so many things you can go through. I'm just taking the most prominent things. We're focusing on the planets because we're going to see the transit to the planets. So the image is, here's the clock of this person. Here's the DNA. Here's the archetype of the person. And it's an alarm clock. And each planet is one of where the planets are in your chart. They're like alarms being pulled. Time is stopped for that moment. The alarms are being pulled. And those alarms are your pattern in your life. And they set a sequence up as the world starts moving. You come on, you pick up these alarms. But the world keeps moving. It doesn't stop because you get on. And as each planet moves along at different speeds, whenever it touches one of the alarms, something alarming happens. Some crisis happens. And each crisis is an opportunity for growth. We're as successful as all the crises we've dealt with, and we're as hung up as all the ones we haven't dealt with. So we're just creating a foundation for time. So we're looking at the natal chart. We're seeing the potentials and the behavioral factors, or the behavioral implications and personal implications of the pattern types of the moon phases of each planet and how they group together and what's going on in the natal chart. That's the preparation work for looking at the timings. When we get to the timings, it's simpler. We see the alarms and we watch each planet moving along to see when it touches the alarms. And then we're watching these alarms. But there's so many alarms going off all the time, we have to cut through it. So we're not watching all of them. We're learning which ones to watch as primary, and then which ones as secondary, and which ones as tertiary, which ones have the most effect, and how to have some order in seeing what's going on. Otherwise, if you just compare a chart of now to there's so much going on, you're reading into it, it's hard to get a coherent perspective. People learn to do that, but usually you spend a lot of years running around looking at things. You're talking about things going on, and they're going on, but you don't know it in how much perspective that has, how much intensity compared to 5 other things going on at the same time.